It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by emailrevealer.com. Check out emailrevealer.com if you want to catch your spouse cheating online, need an asset search or background report, emailrevealer.com. And also our brand new sponsor, michiganmushrooms.net. Got to check out the website, michiganmushrooms.net, and see all the different kinds of mushrooms that they have to offer you over there. Makes a great Christmas gift. And their Facebook page is Michigan Mushrooms LLC. If this is the first time you're listening to our show, check out OppermanReport.com. We have a section there. It's a members section. It has additional content, exclusive content that you can only hear by signing up and becoming a member. So we welcome all new members. So today, we're going to be doing a show, a different take on O.J. Simpson. We've done quite a few O.J. Simpson shows. As a matter of fact, last night we were talking to Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, former FBI agent, and he testified at the O.J. Simpson case. Just came up in our conversation. So we've done a lot of O.J. Simpson shows, but here we got a guy, Jeffrey Felix, who was actually the correctional officer at the Lovelock Correctional Center up there north in Nevada, where O.J. is doing time. And so Jeffrey Felix is about to publish a book called Guarding the Juice. And so we got Jeffrey on the line right now. Hey, Jeff, you there?
Hey, good morning, Ed. How are you doing?
Very good, man. Nice to meet you. So, Jeffrey, why don't you tell the audience about yourself? Who is Jeffrey Felix?
Jeffrey Felix is a 52-year-old man. I just got done retiring from the Department of Corrections September 2nd. I'm married, 18 years, beautiful wife named Rhonda. I have two kids, Jacob and Zachary. They're 18, and the other one's going on 15. And I worked for Nevada Department of Corrections for 20 years, same prison, Lovelock Correctional Center. And retirement is pretty good. I kind of enjoy my retirement. I originally was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and we moved from Baltimore to Tucson, Arizona. And from Tucson, we moved to Las Vegas, and then I moved up to out to Lovelock to take the job as a correction officer in July of 1995 at the Lovelock Correctional Center. And 20 years later, I'm retired, and I'm writing a book.
Yeah, very good. I'm 53, man. I'm nowhere close to retired. I got to tell you that. So I guess you did something right. You know? Hey, what part of Tucson? I used to go to Tucson all the time.
We lived out by the foothills. I went to Sabino High School there. I went to junior high school there.
Okay, yeah, I know all those places, yeah. I used to go down. I used to stay at Ventana Canyon Ranch. And I used to stay at Canyon Ranch, too. I used to go down all the time, Canyon Ranch in Tucson. And my friend down there owned Professional Cuts, the haircutting place.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, right. They had a whole chain of them, right? Yeah, they were doing good. Okay, so now,
right, okay.
Up there at the Lovelock Correctional Center, right? So how'd you first run into O.J.?
Well, about 7 years ago, everybody knows O.J. kind of had a falling out in Nevada. He did that crime at the Palace Station Casino where, in his opinion, and this is what he told me, he was called by one of his buddies, and his buddies told him that this guy at the Palace Station has all your stuff, all your stolen stuff. We're going to go meet with him tonight. And O.J. said, okay, let's go. Well, O.J. made another call to another guy so they can have three guys showing up, and they all met outside the Palace Station Casino, and the one guy was carrying a gun. And O.J. asked him, O.J. told me that he asked him, hey, you got a license for that gun? The guy goes, yes. I don't know why O.J. would bring somebody with a gun. He could never answer that question. But they all three went in there. Things turned out pretty ugly from what you saw, like on Nancy Grace, all the recordings you guys heard all that night with the F word flying and nobody effing move and nobody do this. And consequently, O.J. picked up a few charges in Nevada, and he ended up in Lovelock, I think about 7 years ago. And when he ended up there, I went up to the gym. My buddy was the coach at the gym, and I went up there to hang out with my buddy for a minute. And I saw O.J. Simpson in there. And I was talking to the coach, and O.J. came up to me and introduced himself to me. He said, "Hey, sir, how you doing? I'm O.J. Simpson." I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I asked him, I said, "I heard you're living with Big Izzy." And he goes, "Yes, I am." Well, for your audience, to clarify who Big Izzy is, the inmates in prisons have yard names. And Big Izzy was a big gentleman. He was about 6'9". He weighed about 350 pounds. And according to Izzy, he was a serial rapist. Now, I don't know why they would choose a serial rapist to be O.J. Selly. I have no idea. But I asked O.J., I said, "So how is it living with Izzy?" He said, "It's fine living with Izzy." And I said, "Hey, which one of you guys is a man in that relationship?" And, oh, yeah. And O.J. just looked at me like I was crazy. And it kind of broke the ice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he just looked at me like I'm crazy, and he goes, "Oh, I get it. Yeah, you think everybody's messing around." I said, "Yeah, they don't call it Lovelock for nothing. You know, there's a love in the word, Lovelock." So ever since then, we just got along really well. OJ and I, we did very well together. We hung out. We trusted each other. We just had a good time over the 7 years.
So how often would he talk about that incident at the Palace Station?
We probably talked about that once every couple of weeks.
Yeah, a lot of guys in there. 'Cause I've interviewed a lot of guys in prisons as a private investigator, and a lot of guys they always want to talk about their offense that got them in there over and over. And the story gets better every time too. Now, but with OJ, so he talked about that night. Did he ever mention anything about Yale Van Adder, his attorney?
The guy, okay, his attorney, the one he got from Florida. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not very happy with him, and it cost OJ twice as much money because when you bring an outside attorney into Clark County, they have to be, I don't know if the word chaperone, but they have to be spoken for by an attorney in Vegas.
Right.
And he had to pay one attorney for that, and then he paid him, and he was very unhappy with the way he represented him. But, the man has a lot of money. He could have hired anybody he wanted to hire. This guy got him out of a road rage incident, I guess he told me, in Florida. Does that sound correct? I think it was a road rage.
Yeah, that's exactly correct, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he got him out of that. But, to bring an outside guy into a trial, that I asked him that. He knew he made a mistake, and that's what pretty much was his appeal was based on, that he didn't have proper representation.
Yeah, and I watched those hearings live, and I got to tell you, I agree with OJ that he didn't have very good representation. If half the things that he was saying, that he was testifying to was true, and I kind of believe it. And plus, too, it's a bad idea anyway in a town like Clark County, especially, to bring in an outside lawyer when you can hire guys in this town that are so juiced up, to use the coin of phrase, that really smooth things over for you. So you're right, it was a bad idea. But did he ever mention anything about Yale Van Adder being in Las Vegas that weekend when this crime took place?
No, he did not ever say anything about that.
Okay. All right. So
he was mostly upset because OJ was upset because the guy that had the gun got probation. The other guy who set the whole thing up got nothing, and he took the fall for 33 years.
Yeah, so now you've been around a lot of guys. You know anybody else up there that's got 33 years on a one-night event, as OJ describes it?
Not really,
yeah.
No. But you got to remember, kidnapping in Nevada carries a life sentence.
Yeah, that's true. And any casino crime is a problem, too.
Yeah, you don't want to mess. There's three things you don't want to mess with in Nevada. You don't mess around a casino, and you don't mess around with an old guy, and you don't. It was one, and you don't mess with old people because the parole board consists of mostly elderly people. So there's three things you don't mess with in Nevada.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I never considered that. Now,
yes.
Did he ever discuss his first trial about Nicole and Ron Goldman?
Yeah, we talked about that quite often. About the trial.
And what do you have to say about that?
Well, Well, he wishes that Marcia Clark would have tried him in Nevada. Because according to him, Marcia Clark didn't have a clue what she was doing. And the district attorney in Clark County really had his act together.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but now, was he advocating his innocence? Was he like, or did he kind of say, yeah, I hated Nicole and we had a bad night, something to that effect? Well, how did he come off with his? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you want to know his story about his idea what happened with Nicole?
That's a good. Yeah. What's his
that's
theory?
interesting.
Yeah. What's his theory about what happened with Nicole?
Okay. What OJ thought happened was very simple. He told me that Ronald Goldman, Nicole Brown Simpson had a cocaine problem.
Okay.
And they were in the $30K to this drug dealer between them both. And he got a knock on his door one night on his Brentwood address, and it was 2 drug dealers came to his door, asking OJ if once again he could cover the debt of his ex-wife and Ronald Goldman. And OJ said, no, I'm washing my hands of that situation.
Okay.
So they asked OJ, do you mind if we go over there and talk to them? And OJ said, yeah, but hey, no harm comes to them, blah, 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 because they told OJ that if they didn't have the money to pay him, that Ronald Goldman could work off the $30K by selling drugs at his restaurant, because it was a high-class, I guess, busy restaurant in L.A.
Okay.
So those 2 drug dealers left there, according to OJ, went to the house, and I guess things didn't go their way. Now, I asked OJ, if those 2 drug dealers went to Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman's house, and things didn't go their way and they sliced and diced them up, why did they go in and take things? If they owed me $30,000, I might look around the house. You know what I'm saying? Look around, see what's going on, see if I can get some cash. It just didn't make sense to me. Now, what I think happened, I think OJ followed those 2 to the house.
Okay.
And I think he was a couple minutes behind them. And when the action started, I think OJ screamed out or something happened, and everybody split the screen. Everybody split the scene. It was over.
Right, and he ran around in the blood in a panic.
Correct.
Right.
That's what I think happened. And OJ won't cop to that. He stands firmly that the drug dealers killed him, and he was nowhere near it.
Okay, but now he says he knows who these drug dealers are?
Yes, he does.
He never named them to you, did he?
No, he never told me their names. I never really asked them their names.
Okay, then did you ever ask him, well, then how come you didn't use this as your defense?
Well, I heard lately that one of those drug dealers is in the Florida prison system.
Okay.
I read something on that. I did an article for National Enquirer, and they added something to my article that had their names and where they were. One of the guys' names and where he was.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was. But,
so you never had a chance to go back and try and talk to OJ about that again, because now you don't work there anymore.
No, I can't go back in there now.
Right.
But I think they put it in the National Enquirer in the November 13th issue online. I think that's where I saw it.
That's very interesting, because O.J. Simpson, his first lawyer was Howard Weitzman, who was a big drug lawyer in L.A. at the time. And he resigned. He withdrew from the case and sent O.J. to go be questioned all by himself, because he said this would be a conflict of interest for me to get involved in this. So I always thought that it was a drug involvement, and this lawyer was representing everyone involved. And that's why he didn't represent O.J.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's a theory I've had for a while. Now, this is very, very interesting. Now, and I've always had the theory, too, that he was there that night, that something else went on. He was there that night, and he ran around in the blood, and he didn't want to look like a coward, and that's why he never came and divulged what he was talking about. So your version here, I really like it. Now, you never had a chance to go in there with a recorder and tape him, anything like that, when you're talking to him?
No, well, what happens is when you go into prison, you have to clear like those metal detectors like you would at the airport.
Right.
And when you come into work. So there was no way to bring something in. And that would be contraband. So if you brought something like that in, you could be terminated. It could get really ugly.
Okay, now I've heard over the years that OJ has an iPhone in prison.
That's not true. Well, what they have now is about a year and a couple months ago, the inmates can now buy like a little MP3 player. Okay, and they have these certain plug-in stations throughout the yard and the gym and in the units where they can plug in their MP3 player and download emails from people from outside, like their family, and they can put music on there. It kind of looks a little bit like an iPhone, but it has no internet access, and it's very well monitored by the NDOC.
Yeah, I'm part of that because I do a lot of criminal defense work, so I have that account with that, what's I call like something link, a prison link or something like that. It's called. You have to be approved to get emails back and forth from them. So I'm familiar with that. But now you're familiar that a lot of inmates have contraband cell phones.
Yeah, but at Lovelock, I think one time they had one cell phone where a dirty officer brought it in, maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay, and that was it.
And I think they caught her it was a lady. I think they caught her the same day. It's a pretty well-run prison. Lovelock was a very well-run prison.
Okay. So that's interesting. Okay, now he said it was these drug dealers. Now, did he say to you why he didn't use that as his defense? Tell about these drug dealers.
He just said his attorney was, the words he used, his attorney was inadequate. I said, but Juice, you paid him. You chose him. And he always said, well, I thought I was getting, more bang for my buck. I thought this guy was a good guy. He got me out of the trouble in Florida.
No. I'm talking about back to Nicole. How come he didn't use with Nicole?
Oh,
How come he didn't use these drug dealers as his defense in that case?
I do not know. He pretty much easily won that case. So Marcia Clark she didn't really have her act together.
Yeah.
I think she was like a last-second substitute. I think the main person was supposed to take that case got sick or something.
Had a heart attack.
Marcia Clark slid in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, and Marcia Clark slid in there.
Right.
And I watched part of that trial, and she wasn't very impressive at all.
Yeah, I watched it too. I watched it religiously. I was obsessed with that. I couldn't get any work done back in those days. I was so obsessed. I was watching it twice a day because they would repeat it at night. That's how crazy I was. I went with the OJ thing. Okay, very good. Now, how did OJ get along with the other inmates?
Oh, he gets along great with them. That guy is a model inmate, good guy, easygoing, laid back. In 7 years that I've known him, I've never seen him get angry. I've never seen him go off. I've never seen a bad side to that guy.
Really?
So he gets along fine with the other inmates. Gets along fine with officers. He's just he's a perfect role model for an inmate. I mean, all he thinks about is getting paroled. So he's not going to let anything come in the way of him getting his parole.
And how does that look these days?
Well, he did get his first parole, which didn't release him to the streets, and I think he goes up for a second parole in 2 or 3 years. And when you come up for parole that actually releases you from prison, it's a lot harder to get.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, look, you committed your crime in a casino, and that's a no-no in Nevada because that's where the revenue comes from. But he is for sure he's going to get his parole. And I kind of, if he gets it, he gets it. But I always told him, don't be upset if you get a 2 or 3 year dump. Just keep focused. Keep focused on the prize of getting out of there.
Now, did he ever say why he committed that crime in the casino? Because it was prearranged to meet at the casino there. Like, they could have set that up to meet anywhere in California. Did he ever say how it went?
Yeah, he said the guy got a hold of his buddy, and his buddy said the two guys were staying there, and they had his stuff, and they wanted to meet with him. And that's why OJ went there. Now, if it was me, or more likely you, Ed, I probably would have met at a neutral place, can we meet, here or at the mall, or, you know what I'm saying? Just somewhere, where it's neutral.
Yeah,
I guess he really wanted his stuff back, and he went for it.
Yeah, and I think it was a setup from the start, too, because that guy had the room bugged and everything. He had a recorder sitting there waiting. That guy had the whole thing planned. He did a book right away. He did 100 interviews. And that guy had his own criminal charges in the past, dealing in stolen goods. Forget his name right now. I should get him on the show. Now, did he ever mention why he was so hot and heavy to go back there and get it? Because the rumor is that he wanted the suit that he was wearing it was the suit he was wearing when he got the not guilty verdict, and that's what was the item that he went there to pick up because there was a bid for that for like $700,000 that they could sell that for $700,000. Did he ever mention anything about that?
No, he never mentioned what the stuff was. I thought it was for the Heisman and some other trophies he got during college. That's what I thought it was for.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, because, the story I heard was that they got an offer for that suit, and that's why all of a sudden he was hot and heavy to track this guy down and set him up and then get the suit back. Okay, that's interesting. But it was a lot of stuff there, too. That picture of him with J. Edgar Hoover, he wanted that. And you're right, the Heisman Trophy, I think it was, too. Okay, great. Now, what about the rumor? There was a National Enquirer story not too long ago that he had a transvestite girlfriend in prison.
Okay, now you're talking about the transvestite's name was Jasmine.
Right, okay.
Now, that was, and when I say she, when I say like Jasmine or she, I show respect to the transgender. If they want to be called, if they want to be a girl, I call them a she. If they want to be a he, they're a he. So there's a story with that, and I'm going to give you that as an exclusive because it's one of my stories in the book, and it hasn't come out yet. Okay, Ed?
Okay, great.
What happened with that was Jasmine was working in the laundry. Okay, she was one of those laundry workers that when the inmates dropped their clothes off, Jasmine was one of the workers that would put the clothes in the washer, the dryer, fold them, and put them back in the little sacks they come in, the little nets. And OJ dropped off his clothes for the day. And Jasmine hijacked a pair of OJ's boxers. Okay?
Okay.
Well, when Jasmine hijacked the boxers, OJ went to do what they call laundry pickup for his unit, picked up his laundry, back to his house, opened up his laundry, and a pair of boxers were missing. So OJ started asking the other laundry workers, what's going on? Where's my boxers at? Blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, Jasmine has them, and she's hijacking them. Well, I come into work the next day. OJ beelines for me. Felix, you got to take care of this mess. This girl's in there, Jasmine. She won't give me back my boxers. This is going all bad. She's hijacking them. She wants to give me oral sex for me to get my boxers back. And I don't roll that way. OJ's never done anything homosexual in that prison. Doesn't roll that way. The media had that all wrong. So what happened was I went over to laundry. I talked to the laundry officer, get permission to talk to Jasmine. I pulled Jasmine up because I go back years and years and years with Jasmine. And I asked her, well, what's going on? And she actually told me her plan. Her plan was to hijack OJ's boxers, give O.J. Simpson oral sex, save the sample of semen, spit it into the boxers, take the boxers home with her when she gets out of prison in a few months, and then when she goes to the media, she has proof that she slept with O.J. Simpson. That's crazy. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that O.J. has to put up with.
There's a person with a lot of time on her hands, man, to come up with a plan like that.
It's crazy, Ed. So I talked to the laundry officer. He let Jasmine go. Jasmine was immediately terminated for theft, stealing the boxers. Jasmine was shipped to the Phase 2 yard, went to the hole. Jasmine got out a few months later, went straight to one of the tabloids, sold her story with no proof, and now I heard Jasmine is back in prison. I don't know that for a fact, but I did hear. And these are the reasons why that OJ trusted me, because I can handle these situations with no drama. Because let's say O.J. confronted Jasmine and a fight started. If O.J. gets rode up for a fight with a disciplinary action, he'll never get his parole. If he goes up front and reports this, it's a catch-22. Now he's a rat. Do you see what I'm saying, Ed?
Yeah.
So I was his go-between guy. I was his middleman that took care of his little problems.
Okay, but even that kind of association with you, that's not considered being like a rat or, being too friendly?
No, I had a reputation to prison for being a pretty straight-up dude. I handled things without going to administration. I mean, if it had to do with security institution or it got above me, I'd go up front and let the sergeant know. But that was a situation that myself and the laundry officer, could handle.
Gotcha.
And there's no reason why Jasmine would lie to me. I go back with Jasmine 5 years. So, the truth's going to come out sooner or later. You might as well tell Officer Felix because I'll just take care of the situation without a lot of problems.
No, I got you. Now, what about, there's also that story that O.J. plays, gambles all day long. He plays cards all day long and that they're gambling. Is that true or not?
Well, he doesn't gamble. He just plays poker and they play dominoes. There's no real gambling going on because there's no way they're going to get away with it because there's cameras in the units.
Okay.
And they can, there's cameras everywhere and you can see everything that's going on. And, O.J. is not going to gamble because he's not going to set himself up for a write-up.
Okay, but that is true that he does he doesn't not gamble, but he does play cards all day long.
Yes, he plays cards for probably 2-3 hours a day.
Right. Now, what about because now a guy like O.J. He's used his autographs as currency in the past. Okay, any indication that he's doing that while he's inside?
Now, he got talked to when he came into the prison by one of the up front people, by one of the executives,
right,
the management, and he was told no autographs, none of that stuff. And one time they caught an autograph going out in the mail, and they found out that somebody copied O.J.'s autograph. It wasn't actually his. So he's never done an autograph that the NDOC knows of and sent it out. It's not worth the risk to him to get a write-up because mail coming in and mail going out gets searched by the mailroom officer other than legal mail.
Now, what about I'm sure that I'm not familiar with this prison, but in many prisons during visits, you can have photographs taken. Any photographs being used as currency?
I don't know if he had any photographs taken of visiting because visiting's on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the inmates, and I worked Monday through Thursday, and he never really talked about it. He never really talked about if he had visits. But they also have, you can also buy pictures from the canteen from the store. I do not know if he ever got one or not. I'm sure he might have sent one out to his kids. But anything that would leave the prison with O.J. Simpson's name on it, I'm sure that the mailroom would probably go through. They probably, they're probably more than likely they're told to check it. I'm sure.
So you think they keep a better eye on him than they do the average inmate?
Yeah, because they have to keep a better eye on O.J. Because let's say O.J. got beat up on the yard. I mean, the press would eat that up.
Right.
People would lose their jobs. I mean, the reason why they sent O.J. more than likely to Lovelock because Lovelock is the best run prison in the state. Got the best management, straight down the line staff. Everybody knows what they're doing. You got people in the right positions. And I mean, we've had Michael Dokes out there. We've had that John Wayne Bobbitt was out there.
Hey,
we had a few other. Go ahead.
Scott Thorson.
Who?
Scott Thorson, Liberace's boyfriend. He was Michael Jackson's boyfriend. They just did a movie about him, the Liberace story. I know he's in prison here in Nevada.
I don't know if he's out there.
Okay,
I never heard of him.
I'll have to double check on that. Yeah, because he was buddies too with Dennis Hoff, and I know Dennis Hoff was helping out John Wayne Bobbitt, and he also helped Scott Thorson get an attorney. But he got a big sentence too, man. He's doing like 30 years on a credit card.
This state gives out really big sentences.
Yeah, he could have got out real quick. I'll tell you, he could have got out on with because Dennis Hoff set him up with a really good lawyer, and he could have got out with by going to drug rehab, but he blew it off, and they gave him like 15 years. So he's not a young guy either. I know, man. It's no joke. Listen, let's take a quick commercial break here. We're with Jeffrey Felix, who is a ex-retired corrections officer for Lovelock Correctional Institution and buddies with O.J. Simpson, man. And already we got some great information out of you, my friend. This is great information. Thank you very much. We'll be right back after these messages with more of Jeffrey Felix. He's the author of Guarding the Juice. This is going to be a great book, and the book is going to be in the Opera Report bookstore on operaReport.com and also on the blog. I want to make sure a lot of people know about this book. We'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. Pacific West Bamboo, your premier source for sustainable building material. They provide construction-grade and craft-grade bamboo material for all your indoor, outdoor, and gardening needs. Contact them for event planning and display building as well. 503-839-8126. Or you go to their new website, pacificwestbamboo.com. Or you can contact them on Facebook at Pacific West Bamboo. That's 503-839-8126. Amanda from Pacific West Bamboo was our first sponsor. She's been so good to us, so please support her in return. I want to make everybody aware of our new members section at www.oppermanreport.com. You can go there and sign up for a monthly, quarterly, or yearly subscription. You can even purchase episodes one by one. You get full access to brand new original content, new guests, new uncensored interviews, my own investigations and reports, and we're going to be adding sections with documents, images, police reports, either provided by myself or by my guests, or for my own investigations, my own reports. So you can go to oppermanreport.com and you can sign up there tonight. You can start listening tonight. Strawman. I want to mention Strawman. Strawman is a band out of Toronto, Canada. They're good friends of the Opperman Report. They're a trio of guys who share the same mindset most of us here do, and they put that energy into their words and music. So check them out at strawmanmusic.com and drop them a line to let them know that you heard them here on the Opperman Report. We'll be doing an interview with Sean Duffy soon. You can get an autographed copy of my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, by visiting my PI website, emailrevealer.com. We also offer a computer and cell phone forensics. We can recover deleted text messages to uncover infidelity. We offer asset searches, locates, email tracing, background reports, and we can even trace the spouse's email address back to internet dating websites to catch them cheating online. You can reach us at 800-572-9762, or you can email me at emailrevealer@aol.com. New World Mexican Women. Everyone loves the New World Mexican Women. And their line of fine, handcrafted, authentic Mexican jewelry of stone mosaic and abalone stone inlay. In their first book, titled New World Mexican Women, available on bnews.com, they teach you how to make this jewelry, and they have a collection of love letters to their men from their hometown that have immigrated to the United States to find work. They have also published a new book entitled Azucena to the Rodeo. It's about a young girl that falls in love with a rodeo bull rider, and she runs away with him without telling his parents. You can find the New World Mexican Women by Googling New World Mexican Women. And you can ask them about their deals on wholesaling their fine jewelry and all of the other projects that they have going on. If you'd like to have your business or website advertised here and promoted all over the world on dozens of stations every day, give us a call at 800-572-9762 or email oppermanreport@gmail.com. Now back to our show. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Before we get back to our guest, Jeffrey Felix, who's the author of the upcoming book, Guarding the Juice, I want to remind everybody about our buddies over there at MichiganMushrooms.net. They offer the highest quality chaga chunks available anywhere, picked fresh from healthy live trees in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. sun-dried, and quickly shipped to you. They are very proud of their long-standing reputation as trusted farmers and collectors of wild gourmet medicinal mushrooms. Customer service and offering high-quality products is very important to them. They have a strict grading system that begins in the woods, and they'd rather pass up a chunk that looks bad instead of trying to pass it on to the customer. Now, additionally, they're recognized by the state of Michigan as mushroom experts and are certified by the Department of Agriculture to sell 20 different species of mushrooms. Proof of this certification, as well as laboratory test results showing the levels of polysaccharides and betulinic acid and more, are available on request. Check them out on Facebook, Michigan Mushrooms LLC, and you can purchase some mushrooms right now. It makes a great Christmas gift at michiganmushrooms.net. But forget the mushrooms, because right now we got a great guest. Okay, dude, I love you, man. I'm going to bring you back by 3 hours, okay? Jeffrey Felix, guarding the juice. I am so into this, man. You have no idea. Okay, bunch of questions. Does he get a lot of visits?
I don't know if he gets visits or not, because visiting's on the weekend.
Right.
And I was working Monday through Thursday, and we never really talked about it.
Yeah, you told me that, right? Now, what about mail?
Yeah.
Does he get a lot of mail?
Supposedly he gets a few mail. He gets a little bit of mail every night. I don't know how much, because usually the officer passes out mail like around 6 or 6:30 before count, and I usually leave the prison at 4. But I do hear that the mailroom did tell me one time he does get quite a bit of mail. Years ago they told me that.
Does he answer the mail when he gets it? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm sure he gets it from fans. I'm sure he gets it from haters. I mean, you can go either way with. I mean, he's like the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody, says the Dallas Cowboys are all right. Either you love them or you hate them. I mean, that's the same way with O.J. Simpson. Either love them or you hate them.
Yeah, they used to call it back on the internet in the old days. They had two Usenet message board groups. One was called Pro J, and the other was No J. So you either hate them or you love them. Now, what about commissary?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody's into this. Now, what about commissary? Does he get a lot of commissary? The limit?
Yeah, he goes to the canteen on Tuesdays, and he does get quite a bit of food at the canteen. He goes to the front of the line. He usually has a helper because, he's old now, so he gets a helper to help him carry back all of his groceries. I'm figuring he gets about maybe a couple $100 a week in food and stuff.
Really? Okay. Yeah, he's doing okay then. Okay.
That's a rough guess.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Does he ever mention his ex-girlfriend, Christy Prody?
No, we've never talked about her. Is that the one that he was dating in Vegas, or is that the one in Florida?
That's the one in Florida that the police were at their home about 20 times for domestic violence calls, and he never got a single arrest or anything. In fact, she got arrested, and she had a lot of substance problems, and she's still afraid of him, and still kind of hiding out from O.J. But he never mentioned her.
Wow.
She was a Nicole lookalike. He never mentioned her once.
He did say, I think they were living together in Florida off a golf course, and he would golf in the morning. She'd make him sandwiches, bring him out, but we never really discussed her. No.
Wow, because I always thought that was such a passionate relationship for him that he'd still be obsessed about that. But
according to OJ, he's still in love with Nicole.
Really?
He has that picture of her, by his bed on his shelf. He's still in love with her.
Really? Okay. Now, does he ever mention talk about his kids?
Yeah, he talks about his daughter. A few months ago, I guess he's pretty proud of her. I guess she bought a couple of houses in the Florida area, and she invited him when he gets out of prison to stay with her for a while, and that was kind of his plan until he gets on his feet to stay with her. I guess she's doing very well down there in Florida. So
he has plans after he's going to get out. He has a whole.
Yeah, he's gonna move to Florida. He's pretty well financially set. According to him, he's gonna make about $12,000 a month in his retirement. He gets a retirement from his movies. He gets a retirement from the NFL. He said he gets some kind of a settlement retirement from Hertz, and he gets about $3,000 a month from Social Security once he's out of prison. He says it roughly comes out to about $12,000 a month.
Really? I had always thought it was more like $45,000 a month. You're telling me to say 12, huh? Okay. Now what?
Yeah, you and I both. I thought that as well.
Yeah. Oh, really? So that's inaccurate.
Yes, I thought he was making more. I thought he was making a lot more. And according to Juice, he told me he can barely live on $12,000 a month.
Oh, boy. Wouldn't that be something, man? I'm barely making on $12,000 a year, It's like,
yeah, $12,000 a month. You're living pretty high on the hog on $12,000 a month.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Now, what about this? You ever mention people like Bruce Jenner or Cindy Garvey?
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
I have a lot of Bruce Jenner in my book.
Okay.
He's not very happy with Bruce Jenner, not because Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner. He's upset because, according to OJ, Bruce Jenner won the Olympics. What year was that, 80 or 76 of the decathlon?
Yeah, it was like 75, 76, yeah.
There you go. Okay, okay. He won the decathlon, and, OJ said Bruce Jenner was an odd guy. He didn't have any friends. He wins this decathlon. He has no money, and he went golfing with OJ and a couple of OJ's buddies. I guess Bob Kardashian talked OJ into taking Bruce Jenner golfing. I don't know how Bob got involved with Jenner, but he took him golfing, and, Jenner was telling OJ, I got no money, I got no friends. Well, OJ set up Jenner with his manager, with OJ's personal manager, and OJ's personal manager scored Bruce Jenner with the Wheaties commercial. He's on the Wheaties box and all that.
Yeah.
And they became pretty cool over the years. I mean, Bruce Jenner really didn't fit in, according to OJ. And then a few months before the announcement came out that Bruce Jenner was going to become Caitlyn Jenner, OJ was talking to one of the Kardashians in the evening, and they informed him that their stepdad was acting strangely for a while.
Right.
So OJ kind of got heads up. And I asked the Juice, how do you feel about, Bruce Jenner becoming Caitlyn Jenner? OJ is a pretty liberal guy. He just says, hey, if that makes him happy, it makes him happy. He goes, he's my friend no matter what. And then once Bruce became Caitlyn, I guess Kim Kardashian came out and said that she cheated on him.
Right.
Now, as soon as she said that, according to OJ, Bruce Jenner immediately thought it was with OJ. Now, OJ told me that is not true. And then Bruce said some bad things about OJ that hit the media. I don't know what they were, but, OJ wasn't happy about it. He took this guy on his wings. He went golfing with him. He set him up with his manager, got him financially set up, and now, he's going to talk bad about him? I mean, it kind of hurt OJ's feelings, but other than that, OJ was pretty proud of Bruce coming out and becoming what he wanted to become, a woman. He was pretty proud of him for doing that, for taking the chance, because you never know with America. Everybody might turn against you, But OJ was pretty proud of Bruce coming out saying he was going to turn into Caitlyn. And according to OJ, Caitlyn Jenner still likes girls. She doesn't like guys. She likes girls. She just wants to become a girl. This is according to OJ.
And how would he know? From talking to Bruce and Caitlyn?
Well, he talks to the Kardashians a lot.
Okay.
He keeps up with them, and that's in my book. I have a whole chapter of one of my chapters. That you have to get the book will become OJ keeps up with the Kardashians.
Oh, very good. That's good. Yeah. But now, so the rumors about him possibly being Khloe Kardashian's father. OJ says that's impossible because he never did it with that woman.
Yeah, well, what happened with that, Ed? My mom, who's a big-time Kardashian follower, I'm not a starstruck person.
Okay.
OJ came to me. I never came to him. But my mom is a big-time stars person. And she called me from Vegas and asked me, that all this stuff's on TV about Khloe, blah, blah, blah. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you ask OJ if he's Khloe's dad? So I did. I pulled the Juice up, one-on-one, man-to-man. I said, look, Juice, this is you and I. Are you Khloe's dad? And he looked at me square in the eye, Ed, and he said, let me tell you something, Felix. He goes, Bob Kardashian was one of my very best friends, and I would never tap Chris. And I believe him, because we had that relationship where he would have told me.
Okay.
I knew he would have. That's not a secret he would keep from me. So I know for a fact that he's not Chloe's dad. Now, but Chloe was stressing on OJ to take a paternity test because, the news articles, everything were throwing this at her.
Right.
And I asked OJ, hey, why don't you just take a paternity test and make everybody happy? He said no. And I said, Juice, why wouldn't you take a paternity test? And he looked at me and he goes, this is a family matter, and it's none of anybody's business but the family. And that was the last we ever talked about a paternity test.
What does he have to say about Bob Kardashian?
Well, he said Bob was his best friend. He came out of retirement to defend him. I guess they went to USC together.
Anything about being involved in gambling or with Kardashian, bookmaking, anything like that?
He never said anything about that.
Did he ever mention being involved in a weekly poker game with Marsha Clark's ex-husband?
No, he did not. He did not. Did that actually happen?
Yeah. And the guy owed OJ money during the time of the trial. Marsha Clark's ex-husband owed money to OJ during the trial. So much went on, dude. Okay, Al Cowling. What does he have to say about Al Cowling?
Al Cowling is his most trusted friend ever.
Still.
He said he's Al Cowling's the most solid guy in the whole world. But he also said that I'm his second most trusted guy, right behind Al Cowling. And that's pretty crazy right there. He trusts me almost as much as Al Cowling.
Well, Al drove him into prison. You could drive him out. Maybe you can go pick him up in a white Bronco. We could do a pay-per-view on it. Yeah, but Al Cowling was his best buddy, trusted friend. That guy is loyal to the end, Al Cowling. So he said they're still friends to this day.
He was, when I was walking across the yard about a year ago, OJ was on the phones outside. There's phones outside on the yard and phones in the unit. And he was on the phone. And I didn't really want to interrupt him when he's talking on the phone. And I walked by and he said, hey, have a good weekend, Felix. I said, you too, Juice. Tell Al I said hello. And he goes, hey, Al, Felix said hello. He was on the phone with him at that time.
Okay.
That's pretty crazy right there. That's pretty crazy.
Now, did he ever mention anything about Al Cowling being involved in drug dealing?
No, he never said anything about that.
Okay. All right. Now, did he ever mention anything about him being involved in drug dealing in his life, earlier in his life, before anything? No.
The only thing he ever said about the drugs was he covered Nicole and Ronald's drug problem or drug
bill
debt a couple times. That was it.
What about his own drug use? Did he ever talk about using drugs himself?
No, he never talked about using drugs. The only thing he ever talked about, he liked to drink, and his favorite drink was a mojito, whatever that is.
Oh, it's a Cuban drink.
And I asked him, I said, what the hell is a mojito, Juice? He said, it's very refreshing, Felix. It's very refreshing. So I don't even know what a mojito even is. I have no clue. But now all your listeners in the world know that's the Juice's favorite drink is a mojito.
Yeah, check it out. It's a Cuban drink. You can get them down if you come down to Vegas. You go to those Cuban restaurants over there on a strip, and they make great mojitos. Okay, now.
Okay.
Did he ever mention anything about him and Al Cowling being in a street gang when they were kids?
No, he did not.
How about his first wife? Do you know his first wife was dating Al Cowling's when and OJ broke them up and stole them away? Did you know that?
I did not know that. I knew his first wife had 2 kids with him, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, she was first.
She had 2 kids with him.
She was dating Al Cowling's first, and she went back and forth between OJ and Al, and OJ wound up with her.
I did not know that.
What about OJ's father? Did OJ ever talk about his own father?
Yeah, we talked about his dad a lot. His dad was actually when OJ was going to high school, I think he said he lived in San Francisco.
Right.
And his dad had 2 jobs. His dad was a janitor, and his dad was a chef over at that Aliotis. Is that the name of the restaurant in San Francisco on Pier 39?
I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but that's all he said?
Yeah, and he said his dad worked 2 jobs, and his dad, when OJ got picked up by USC, that was one of his dad's most proudest moments. I think his dad died in like 86.
Yeah.
I think that's what OJ said.
His dad was a female impersonator.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
I believe he died of AIDS, too. I believe.
Oh, my God.
But he
okay.
It's widely known his dad was a female impersonator in San Francisco. Did he talk about his childhood in San Francisco? Yeah, I know, man. Did he talk about his childhood in San Francisco?
Not really. No. We started off with him going to USC. That's pretty much what we started talking about.
And then what did he say about that? Like, was he like really reminiscing about the old days, about he was a football hero, that kind of stuff?
Oh, he loved USC.
Yeah.
He never talked bad about USC around the Jews. They treated him great. He enjoyed every moment of USC. He was very happy there.
Now, what about now? He had a meeting once with J. Edgar Hoover. Did he ever talk about that?
He did?
Oh, what did he say?
Wow, we never talked about that.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, there's a picture.
I did not know he had a meeting with you.
Yeah, there's a picture of him with Hoover. You know what, too? Now, there's a picture. Did he talk about, like, his film career? Like, the movies he made and stuff like that?
Yeah, we talked about the movie Capricorn 1 a few times.
Oh, really? What do you have to say about that?
He liked it because he actually believes in the moon landing. I think that was in 1969.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't believe in that.
Yeah, me
I can tell you that to this day.
Yeah,
you know, it's pretty funny, Ed, because my dad came home from work. I think we were living in Baltimore, in Maryland, and we were watching the moon landing. And my dad walked in the door, and he said, "Who the hell do they think they're kidding? They can't make a digital clock that works right." And he walked right out of there, got out of his suit, and started eating dinner. I don't know how they pulled off a moon landing. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've done shows about it. It's impossible. There's no way. I don't even think we could do it today.
Yeah, but OJ thinks they really did land on the moon.
Well, he's in prison. What does he know? Okay. Oh boy. Okay, let me think. Did you ever mention being an extra in one of the old FBI TV series?
No, he didn't talk about that. I knew he was in like 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Roots also?
Yeah, he was in Roots. Yeah, Yeah. He talked about that?
Yeah, I think they told him to keep slowing down because I think he had a scene where he was running.
I heard that story. Yeah, I heard that story. And he kept running too fast. No one could catch him. So, yeah.
Yeah, and nobody could catch him because he was too quick.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really fast, and they kept like he said they took take after take after take, and everybody was getting frustrated with them. They were supposed to be a wrap for the day, and they were all pretty upset with him for taking so many takes on that. He tried to slow down. He said the juice only has one speed.
Okay, but now did he ever talk about? Now what about who was that other guy? Jim Brown, the football player. Did he ever talk about his relationship with Jim Brown?
No, we never talked about Jim Brown, other than I met Jim Brown, and I talked about that with him for a few minutes, and he said that Jim Brown was a pretty good dude. That's all he said. I did not know he really knew him that well.
Yeah, because right after the arrest for the murder, Jim Brown went on TV and says, well, everybody knows about O.J. and drug dealing, Yeah.
Yeah, everybody talks bad about O.J.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. So, okay, now... you did a story with the National Enquirer about an incident with this neo-Nazi Aryan guy in the prison. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, the neo-Nazi guy, it's interesting, Ed. What happened was that everybody knows O.J. Simpson goes in front of lines. It's no real big deal. He cuts in front of the clinic line, the cafeteria line, the canteen line. It's par for the course. And I guess this neo-Nazi guy... Wah was his name, and he's a pretty tough dude. He's definitely not a nice guy, and I guess in front of the cafeteria, he cut in front of O.J.
Okay.
And O.J. said something to him, and he turned around and he pushed O.J. He actually put hands on O.J., and he said, we're going to take this back to the house, which in prison means we're going to fight.
Right.
Okay? Now, if O.J. gets in a fight, you and I both know it. He's done. He's not going to get his parole, whether he wins or loses. The fight can't happen. So, a couple of days later, I come back from work. Here comes the Jew speedlining for me. Felix, you got to do me a favor. I got the Aryans out to get me. I'm like, what? Juice, I've only been gone 3 days. You got the Aryan Nation looking out for you now? What's going on? And he told me what happened. I said, the guy put hands on you? And he goes, yeah. I said, give me a couple hours. Let me get to my office. Let me get some stuff done. I'll hit the yard, and I'll take care of it. So I hit the yard. I went over to Mr. Waugh's cell. I figured I'd take it straight to him. And I went to his cell to try to talk to him about, straightening this thing out, quashing this thing with the juice. And, he's an Aryan. I'm Jewish. It really didn't work out very well, Ed. He told me to get the hell out of his cell or I'm going to get a beat down. No Jews in his house, blah, blah, blah. There was no respect there. So I went back to my office. I figured out what my next move was going to be. I mean, if I can't settle this, I got to let the sergeant know, and the sergeant's going to come look this dude up, and he's going to be gone. So I figured maybe I'll go talk to the Aryan shot caller.
Okay.
So I pulled up the Aryan shot caller. I went over to his house and pulled him up. He's a pretty laid-back dude. And I said, look, you know and I know that you're the shot caller of the Aryans. Operations doesn't know, though. Now, if I go to operations and I tell them there's a current shot caller for the Aryans, you and I both know you're going to go to Yulee. So you might as well go down to the canteen and start buying some jackets, start buying some long underwear, because you're going to go to Yulee. He goes, well, what do you want? You need to get a hold of your buddy there, your Wah, and you need to have him quash this thing with OJ by the end of the day. Because when I leave my office at 3:30 today and I go to operations, I'm going to let them know you're the shot caller. So you got roughly about 8.5 hours, buddy. Straighten this mess out. And within 30 minutes, I heard Wah hit the yard and quashed it with OJ and shook his hand.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then when I was walking out that night, Wah pulled me up and apologized to me for what he said to me because he figured out I was trying to, solve this thing at the lowest level. There's no reason to bring this up front. If these two guys shake hands and it's quashed, it's a lot easier than everybody going to the hole. You can see what I'm saying, Ed?
Yeah.
There's no need for all that drama. So now you can see why OJ kind of trusted me because I fix things for him, at the lowest level.
Yeah, the Jew and the juice, right? You guys got along.
The Jew, yeah. Where that came from was what happens is when we used to have our time together, we used to walk laps on the yard,
right.
OJ and I. And he called it Jew juice time because he's a Jew and I'm Jewish, and he called it, hey. Yeah. He would see me on the yard in the morning. He'd say, hey, Felix, we're going to get some Jew juice time today? I'll say, absolutely, Juice. I'll be out like around maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock when it warms up a little bit.
So now, have you been in touch with him since you've been out, like a letter or a phone call or anything?
No.
Nothing.
I figured he's not going to be very happy with me, trying to get a book published. You know what I'm saying? It's. I mean, we had conversations that shouldn't go anywhere. I mean, when we got done with these conversations, he would look at me and say, "This is between you and I," or "Hey, this doesn't go any further, Felix. I could trust you. I trust you almost as much as Al Cowan. Please don't take this anywhere." And that's the stuff that's in my book. It's this crazy stuff that comes from OJ, and it's insane. I mean, the things we talked about, Ed, were crazy.
Yeah, and the book is called Guarding the Juice. Now, when do you think it's going to be published?
Well, we're shopping for a publisher right now. The book, the chapters are done, book's pretty much written. We're just looking for the right publisher for this project because this is going to sell a lot. Everybody's going to want this book. I mean, it's everybody's interested.
Well,
OJ, I mean, when I was working out there and people found out I worked at Lovelock, it was crazy. I mean, people say, hey, is OJ really out there? Where does he work? What does he do? Where does he live? How does he get along?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to know.
Well, we're down to 1 minute. What do you want to leave us with before you leave the show?
What's that? Oh, what do I want to leave you guys with?
Yeah, we got 1 minute left. What do you want to leave the audience with to sum it all up?
Well, I want to leave them with that, I'm looking for the right publisher for this project. And, I'm not a starstruck guy. OJ came to me. He needs help in prison. He's not a bad dude. But everybody in America knows, including myself, we all know that he killed Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. I mean, everybody knows that. But I think people just need to look out for this book in February. I think it's going to be a great book and a great project. And thank you for having me on the show, Ed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is going to be a great book, and this is not going to be the last time you're going to come on. I just want to keep it to 1 hour because we can get a lot more play for this show if we keep it to 1 hour sharp. So, Jeffrey Felix, upcoming author of the book Guarding the Juice. Guys, the book will be in the Opera Report bookstore and also the Opera Report blog, so check it out. We'll be right back after this.